So we are going to talk a little bit about communicating with your professors and advisors in college and go over some best practices so that you can get what you need from your support team. We are going to talk a little bit about what the roles are for your professors and advisors so you know who to go to in different circumstances. And then we'll talk about email etiquette. Because when you get to college, that's when you really start using email as a primary communication tool. So I want to make sure you're prepared for that. Before we get into who your professors and advisors are, it's important to note that LinkedIn lists communication skills as the #1 thing that employers look for. So having a strong communication skills and strategies is really vital, not just in your time in college and working with your professors and advisors, but it's a lifelong skill. It can improve your personal life, your professional life. And if you want to learn more about how miscommunication happens and some strategies to avoid it, you can go ahead and scan that QR code and watch that video on your own time. It's about 5 minutes long. So, we know that communication is important. Let's figure out who you're talking to when you are in college and who's on your support team. So I like to think about your professors and your advisors as experts, just in different areas. So your professors are the subject matter experts. If your professor is teaching biology, they are an expert in biology. Your advisors, however, are program experts. So your major, your college, and they are going to be experts on what you need to do to get your history major complete. So your professors, their jobs are to develop curriculum. So they figure out what it is that they want to teach. They actually then teach that and provide feedback. So they're going to be the ones that review your work and give you grades. And a lot of times professors also conduct research outside of the class based on their own specific area of expertise. Your advisors are going to help you get through your program and make sure that you matriculate. So they'll help you choose what classes you need to take. Different programs, different majors and schools have different requirements. Some examples might be an internship or community service hours that you have to complete. Or especially when you get into your graduate and doctoral programs, a thesis or a final project. They will verify that you have completed those requirements for graduation. And if you are transferring in credits, either from dual enrollment or you're transferring institutions, they will be the people that can help you. So just keep in mind, your professors are subject matter experts and your advisors are program experts. So let's practice about who you would ask for different scenarios. So on your own, as I go through each of these, you can point either to the professors or to the advisors or think in your head about who you would talk to about each thing. So for example, if you have a question about an assignment, that's about something that's happening in the class. It's about the content. It's about the subject matter. So that would be your professors. See if you can finish these next 3. Who would you ask about what class you need to take? That would be your advisors. Who would you ask if you want to change majors? Again, that would be your academic advisors. If you wanted to dispute a grade on a paper, that would be your professors. So knowing what the roles are can help you better communicate with your support team. If you go to your advisor for a question that should be going to your professor or vice versa, they won't be able to help you. So let's talk about when you need to talk to your professors and advisors. The #1 time to talk to your professors are when you have questions about the content or assignments in class. Something to keep in mind, professors will put a lot of information on your syllabus. They'll tell you the best point of contact, and they can give you a lot of information about late work or different kind of situations around accommodations, etc. So make sure you check your syllabus first before you ask your professors questions. Speaking of accommodations, if you do have any ADA accommodations or you need support in class due to circumstances beyond your control, you're sick and you can't make it to class, or an emergency came up and you need to ask for an extension, make sure that you're reaching out to your professors, and the earlier the better for this. And because professors are also connected to different organizations or internships, or they're doing research, they can connect you to opportunities outside of the classroom if they are involved in that. So it's another time you can talk to them. That's your professors. Now let's talk about your advisors. Before you register for classes every semester, especially if you want to study abroad or change majors, minors, programs, do an internship, you should be communicating with them to make sure that you're on track, that you're taking the classes that you need to take to graduate. And they might know about opportunities or classes that you're not aware of. You also need to talk to them before you apply for graduation to make sure that all of your program requirements are met. So like I stated earlier, sometimes programs require different things like internships or observation hours. So make sure that you talk to them to make sure that every single thing is checked off your list. So when it is time to graduate, you can walk across that stage. If you are transferring in credits from AP, dual enrollment, a different institution, you need to talk to your advisors first thing to make sure that they have all the information that they need to get those credits transferred in. If you do have a plan to transfer after attending Nashville State Community College to a four-year institution, make sure to hold on to the syllabus for each of your classes so that you can give that to your advisors to help with that process. So let's practice. I will work through this scenario with you out loud, and then I will give you an opportunity to try it on your own with a different scenario. So this is Jeremy. He is majoring in history. And here are some things that are going on in Jeremy's life, and we're going to talk about who he needs to talk to about what. So Jeremy is thinking about studying abroad in Germany next year. Jeremy is unsure about how to narrow down their History 2050 final paper topic. And Jeremy doesn't know when office hours are for his History 2050 class. So in this circumstance, it seems like there's two kind of ways that we can group what's going on. It sounds like he's having some difficulty figuring out where to find his professor for his history class and what he's going to write about. So because it's about what's happening inside of the class, he'll need to communicate with his professors. Now, for the office hours, that's something he can probably find in the syllabus, right? The syllabus for that History 2050 class. For the final paper topic, that could be something he emails his professor about, or it goes to those office hours to have a conversation so he can get that support. Now, with studying abroad, that has more to do with the program. So making sure that the classes he's taking when he is in Germany next year will be really a better conversation for his academic advisor. So for this next person, I'm going to have you go ahead and pause the video and read all of the information and think about what Nina can do to find answers. Hopefully you notice that Nina will need to talk to her academic advisor about the transferring from a community college to a four-year school. And then with the next two, getting involved in an organization for women in STEM on campus could be a great conversation to have with a professor, and talking about maybe needing to get an extension or explaining why her homework assignment is not complete will be reaching out to professors. So just being mindful about who your support team is and what they can provide to you will be really helpful as you matriculate through your program. Now let's talk about emails. Emails are something that really become important once you're in college. It's how you're going to get a lot of information from the school, from your professors, And it's a great time to really get comfortable and fluent with the email game. So making sure that you're giving good email is going to be really helpful for you as you move through your program. So there are 5 main steps to writing a really strong email, making sure that the subject is appropriate, that you fill it out, and that it gives the recipient some information about what's going on. So it could be a question about if you're writing to your academic advisor and you want to study abroad, you can say studying abroad for fall 2022 in Germany. Great subject. The greeting, make sure that you're friendly, just like you would in a conversation. Hello, Professor blah. I hope you're doing well. Something that shows that you see that they're a person and how you reach out to them if you were seeing them IRL. The body of the email should communicate something specific, right? So making sure that you have a specific question there, a specific statement, making sure that there is an action plan for the person receiving the email, and that they know what to do with the information. Make sure that you are, again, in the same way that you'd have a conversation, considerate and thank them for their time. There's a lot of different phrases you can use in Google, like, hope you're doing well, can't wait to hear back, let me know what other information you need from me. Those are just some examples that you can use for a sign off. And then your name. So make sure that you write who it's from. And I have a little trick for this when you are in college to make it a more productive conversation via email with your name. So here's an example. You see that you have the professor's preferred email there is what we'll assume it. The subject is science grade. So we know that this email is about a science grade. And we can assume at this point, because it's about a grade, that this is going to a professor. So we have a couple of different factors here that we can review, right? So the subject is there, the greeting, right? Addressing who you're writing to, Dr. Brown, and saying good morning. It's simple, it's easy, it's kind. The body of the email, right? It notates a couple of different things. I noticed I have a 70% on the lab on Tuesday. So that's the statement. Here's a request, right? I was wondering if you could explain to me what I am not understanding via email, or I can meet during office hours Thursday at 2 p.m. to go over the lab, right? So providing options for what you're looking for is always helpful. You don't always have to have a couple of options. You can say, can you explain to me what I'm not understanding via email? But it is always nice to give people the option. And then a sign off, something kind, a thank you, sincerely. And when you write your name, I have found that it's really helpful for professors and advisors to either have your class information, right? So in this example, the chemistry class, the date and time. And if you are reaching out to your academic advisor, potentially adding your student ID number, something that they ask for frequently will be really helpful as well. Now, as you move forward through your college journey, just remember that communication is really important, and doing it intentionally demonstrates leadership for yourself, for others, and it can get you really, really far. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to your success coaches on campus.